Welcome to Something Awesome, a podcast that's somewhere between new and nostalgia. I like to talk about things we've experienced in the past, things we're re-experiencing for the first time in a long time. And today, the thing we'll be talking about is the Back to the Future trilogy, which we both just recently rewatched, probably for the 1,000th time a piece.
Dude, who counts anymore?
It's one of those. It's one of those things. Like if any of those three movies is on, whether it be on cable or regular television or whatever, and I see it, I'll turn it on and I'll let it run, no matter where it's at in the movie.
Yeah. It really goes to any movie that we all enjoy, pretty much. Like, funny enough, we were talking about Scream, like not too long ago. And what's it called? I was watching TV on Pluto TV,
right? TV,
where they just stream stuff like normal channels do. Mm-hmm. And they were playing Scream again for like the 100th time. I swear to God. Scream 3.
Scream 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I decided, like, fuck it, it's on. I'm gonna watch it. It's halfway through the movie, so I just watched it.
I'm in the minority. I like that one. I don't think that one's that bad, but
I've come to turn around on that one.
Yeah,
we'll discuss in the future.
Yes, it's on the list.
It's on the list.
It's definitely on the list.
But yeah, like that's what Back to the Future is. It's a comfort movie that
for sure
you throw on.
That was one of my go-to movies. Like if I was homesick from school, I'd put on, because I had it on VHS, but it was like recorded from cable, like manually recorded. And on that tape, I had Back to the Future, Karate Kid, and Flight of the Navigator were all on that one tape. So I would just pop that in and watch that tape until it wasn't watchable anymore.
Pretty much that, or sometimes they would just even put them on television.
Yeah.
Depending on the time. Flight of the Navigator, though, was definitely one I watched at home when I was sick.
Yeah, I don't know if I put that on the list, but I need to put that
on
the list. Is it? Okay,
is,
okay. We keep adding to this list. It's like doing every other week, I think is great, like especially for your mental health, editing wise and stuff like that. Doing every other week is really good. But also like looking at that list and realizing like, man, we're not whittling it down. We're adding on and adding on and adding on. And then the last couple of things we've done weren't even on the list. It was just like, oh, we should do this. So, and then in that time we keep adding to it.
And if you want to add to our list, let us know in the comments down below.
There you go. Look at that. Look at that. Nice.
Because we could definitely add it to a list.
Yeah. It was on TV a lot. Especially growing up out here in Southern California, we had Channel 5, which was KTLA.
Yeah, that's where they see it a lot.
On the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, all they did was play movies.
Old classic movies.
Yeah. Well, old. Relative. So yeah, growing up, Back to the Future, Karate Kid, all that stuff, they would constantly be playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like those were always on Channel 5.
And I remember Fox liked to play the Commando.
Yes,
Arnold Schwarzenegger a lot.
Yeah, they did that. They did Rambo was also a lot on there. Yeah, a lot of the action movies. Fox had the action movies. Yeah, and I guess Channel 5 had more of the family. Like, I saw Batteries Not Included for the first time on.
And Short Circuit was on that
Short
too.
Circuit.
Yeah.
1 and 2. I have both of those on VHS at my grandparents' house still. I love those movies. Gotta put those on the list.
Well, first one definitely did not age well.
No, it did not
at all.
The second one is this little peek here into this list that we keep talking about. I have a topic on that list for movies that became franchises, but let's just say movies that started out serious and their sequels were cartoony.
Oh yeah, that's on the list. Yeah.
And Short Circuit 1 was definitely more serious, like military. It was a little darker. And the second one was a fucking cartoon. And like TMNT 1 and 2. 2 is a cartoon compared to 1. But yeah, so that's on the list too.
God, that's so true.
Movies that started serious, so much really dark, man. Raph gets the shit kicked out of him.
Dies.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's one of the things is movies or franchises that started out serious and got cartoony as their sequels went on.
Something that didn't get cartoony though, at least in our point of view, is Back to the Future.
I don't know. 3 is kind of a cartoon, but in a different way. Yeah.
Wish they did make a cartoon in Back to the Future.
Yes, they did, and it wasn't very. I remember liking it as a kid, but thinking that this isn't very good. But I like it because it's Back to the Future.
Yeah, they've got the McDonald's toys.
Oh yeah, dude! Like merchandising like crazy, and then living where we live, being near the sites where they shot a lot of it was like growing up, knowing, oh hey, that's so and so. Like I've been there, but yeah, like it's just really weird that growing up where they shot, where they used for locations for that movie. Yeah. And yeah, it's pretty crazy growing up, going to that real high school for real. I went to that high school. It wasn't all it was cracked up to be. It's a terrible education system. My kid goes there now.
It's an American system. What do you expect?
Yeah. Yeah, my kid is a junior, and then Michael will be going there in a couple of years too.
Jesus Christ.
So yeah, 17.
What the hell?
Yeah, what is time, right?
What is time?
All right, let's get into this Back to the Future talk, my guy. What about? So we're gonna cover the whole trilogy here.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna dive too deep into each movie. I'm sure we'll talk about the things that stand out the most to us, or the cool camera tricks they play in 2 when he's not trying to not cross himself.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
camera work.
Really good. And really good compositing for the time, because remember, it wasn't supposed to be a sequel.
Yeah.
It was just gonna be
just a movie.
Just a movie. Yeah. In its original theatrical run, it didn't say to be continued at the end. It was just it
was just a cliffhanger.
Yeah, they sailed off into the sky on the DeLorean, and that was it.
And you guessed what happened next.
Yeah.
I think also too, because I feel like with the 80s and even with the early 90s as well too, like sequels weren't like something everyone asked for, because everyone always knew the sequels were terrible.
And that was like the stigma.
Like, oh, you don't want to make a sequel, just leave the first one alone. Like the sequels are just never as good as the first.
Right.
With most people, with the what do you say when one standout thing objection? No, I forgot the word, but Godfather 2, like that was like the one. Oh, that everyone was like, oh, it's better than the first one.
Right. The exception to the rule.
There you go. Exception.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the word I was looking for.
I was like, what is Rick trying to say? Is Rick having a stroke? I hope he's okay. Yeah, the exception to the rule. Yeah, Godfather 2 is like the exception to the rule, where that one, people like that one better than the first one. I think Terminator 2 is the same way.
Terminator 2, yeah.
T2 is better than 1, if you ask me. But yeah, I think Back to the Future 2, I don't know if I would say it's better than the first one, but it's definitely more interesting because of the way they have to play with being, in a different time loop, so to speak, and going back and trying to fix things and having to play around with the camera shots and compositing, which again, for 1985, fantastic compositing, putting 2 shots together that weren't together to begin with, and like that fucking wasn't something you could do very easily.
Yeah, it's like like I'm trying to think in my brain technically like how they would do that. Like I don't know. I can't figure it out.
Like think about
like layers of film on top of each other.
Maybe, yeah,
because that's the only thing I can think of.
And then think about how bad the CG in 2 is when they're in the future with the shark and all that. Like, it's really bad.
That looks really good to me.
No way, dude. No. I remember watching it on like a TV, but like the Blu-ray copy I have, I was like, whoa, this really stands out. But yeah, man. So Back to the Future is definitely one of, I don't know if I would say it's one of those ones where the sequel was better than the original. I think they kind of go hand in hand. Like when I was sitting there watching them, I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch 1 and 2 back to back because they're so linked together for me. Like that's the only way to really watch them, if you ask me.
Because if you really think about it, I mean, because you're messing with time, but it's because technically, like, only spans in the matter of
it's a day, like
2 days at most. Yeah,
it's a few days, huh? That they're back
maybe
in
a couple
55.
of days. Yeah, because when he does go back to his future at the end of 3, he's there the following day,
right?
To find Jennifer.
Yeah.
So like, it's just cool.
Yeah, I love the way it plays with time and the whole time paradox idea and stuff like that. But yeah, like what are some standout things from the first movie that like are constant? Maybe it's something throughout the whole franchise that goes through, but I know we have something specific we want to talk about with 3, but like for 1 and 2, like I said, and then they all go right into each other. But for whatever reason, I just feel like 1 and 2 are a package.
They're jointed.
Yeah.
Which they are. I would see it as as one almost because of how connected they are.
Yeah.
I think and maybe this is just me too. Like I don't really feel that disconnect of 1 and 2 or of 2 being on its own until he goes back to the alternate. His reality. That's when I feel like, okay, now we're into a different movie.
Yeah.
That's how it feels like with me.
When Biff's rich and all that stuff. And
and like, okay, now we're starting. But like for the most part, it felt like one movie.
Did you okay, we talked a little bit about this when we did our 5 movies, subscribe to 5 movies thing. But what did you identify with any characters in this movie more so than the others? Or was it just like, oh man, Marty's cool. Like I want to be cool like Marty McFly.
I mean, who doesn't want to be Marty?
Right.
I mean, for the most part,
he's a slacker.
Yeah. But knowing me, being the role follower that I am, like I was a nerd, so like I think yes, I wanted to be Marty for sure. But like kind of how I mentioned in that episode too, where we talked about it, like Doc Brown and just like science and all that, like that really intrigued me. So I wouldn't say if I identified him on a scientific educational level. Probably the most.
Okay. Yeah.
But like, of course, who doesn't want to be Marty McFly?
Yeah, like I wanted to learn how to play guitar. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to learn how. I never did, but I wanted a guitar when I was little because of this movie. We've talked about it before, but skateboarding was something that I wanted. I wanted to skateboard because of this movie, and Police Academy 4 were the 2 movies. This and Police Academy 4 were the 2 movies I saw where I was like, yo, skateboarding is cool. I want to skateboard. Like, and he doesn't even do anything. Like he's just sketching. Like he's riding a car. Like that's all he's doing. Any
tricks at all?
Yeah, it just looks cool.
It just looks cool.
Yeah.
That's the way it's shot.
Yeah, and the hoverboard and all that stuff. Like all that stuff just looks really cool. And they do have the big chase sequence that they make feel really huge. But if you've been to Universal Studios, you know how small that really square is. But they make that seem huge.
You got to use the right lenses, the right angles, and you can make anything look big.
And then I got obsessed with like 50s aesthetics when I saw this movie also. Really? It was one of those things like, oh, that looks cool. I like that. Like, it's weird, but it's one of the things that really.
I'm like, that's old.
That's fine.
Like I don't want to deal with that old stuff. No, my obsession was technology in the future.
Yeah.
So
I think one of the coolest things about the Doc Brown character is like how the transformation, like even throughout just the first movie, like how sterile and clinical he is about his technology and his experiments. But by the end, like the Doc Brown at the beginning of the movie wouldn't be ziplining down the fucking the cables to put them back together. He would have just been like, oh no, we're fucked, Marty. but by the end of that movie, he's playing fast and loose with his experiments. Like, and even into the second movie and the third movie when they make the models, and like I think that's one of the things that I feel like they hit in the first movie really good with the model and the car and the thing catching fire. And they're like, okay, well now we got to do this in all the movies. And like they have the model in each movie, and I think it's really cool. Like, it's almost cartoony, you know, but not like in a bad way because it started that way.
Yeah. They're all blueprinted after.
Yeah.
It's And then when you get to that third one, it's the same thing just with Doc.
Right. And it's like, now here's the scene where we run through the plan.
Yeah. But yeah. It's done it in a great way. I think. But what holds it together, unlike if like someone else might have made something similar to this, or they would see it as cartoony. But I think the way the characters are built in this movie gives it that pass.
Yeah. Have you? We're kind of jumping all over the place, but
I know,
that's
we
fine.
totally are.
That's cool. That's all right though. Have you seen the stuff that had come out recently, like the other auditions, like Ben Stiller reading the Marty McFly, like reading? Yeah. Yeah. I'll look it up. I'll send it to you. Yeah.
Like the only person I know that was the Eric Stoltz character, or I mean,
the character. Yeah. I mean, they shot a third of the movie with him. But yeah, there's clips of, I think, even John Cryer reading.
I think I remember hearing John Cryer talk about it. Yeah. I don't know if I've seen it, but I think I know.
Oh yeah, I saw the clip of him reading, and then Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller's totally new to me. I had no idea.
And it's weird because neither one of those guys seem. It's not the same, obviously, as it is with Michael J. Fox, who I'm glad is getting out there more now. Have you noticed that? Like Michael J. Fox is like, he's getting out more and doing more things now, and he'd kind of like shied away from everything because of Parkinson's, but now.
Like, currently,
he's doing more stuff. He has a
movie coming out too, so I'm super impressed for that.
Yeah. Which is really cool. I never thought we'd get him out, let alone doing something again, like the documentary or whatever.
Yeah, you know? Still, it comes out, I think, in 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, by the time this comes out, it'll already be out.
It'll already be out by the time this comes out, but yeah. Which we'll surely talk about, I'm sure.
Yeah. Have you watched you've watched the scenes with Eric Stoltz, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I watched them all. First.
Does not work.
It doesn't. It
does
really
not work.
It doesn't work.
It's a completely different movie. Like, he doesn't come off like, it's weird. Marty McFly is almost like a Peter Parker. Like, you think he's cool as a kid, but you realize like people don't treat him that way. He's not cool. He's kind of
he's cool in his own mind.
He's kind of a loser.
He's cool. He's cool in here. He's cool.
Right.
Cool.
But he's not. He's considered a loser by other people who think they're cool. But he's cool and weird and awkward. And like, Marty McFly is kind of a Peter Parker. Like, he's like I always say about Peter Parker, he has awkward arrogance. Yeah. To where he's kind of an arrogant prick, but it comes off like endearing because he comes off as kind of awkward about it.
And it's honestly the charisma that the character holds.
Yes.
Which is something that Eric Stoltz could not.
No, carry. And it's like a sad, depressing movie with Eric Stoltz if you watch it. Like his line reads, and I don't know how many takes they did or if they tried to get him to change his delivery at all. But like, you watch those scenes. I'm sure you can find them on YouTube. You watch those scenes, and it's a depressing story, and not like the story of hope, kind of the way it is. You know?
Yeah, yeah, and that's what the director saw too, which is why they're like, nope, it's over. We're done. We got to get.
They shot a third of this movie with him, dude. And we're like, nah.
And they have to reshoot where they can. Yeah, I heard that. So the beginning of the opening of the first movie, you don't see his face because that is not Michael J. Fox. You don't see Michael J. Fox at the end because that person that's walking in and doing all that stuff, that's not Michael J. Fox. I don't know if you knew that.
But I didn't actually know. I thought they reshot the whole thing.
No. They kept
what they could.
Had to keep what they could. So
Money.
They kept all that, which is not him. You don't get him until he gets thrown back. Well, obviously it's stunt double. But when you see him there laying there, like, obviously it's him. Yeah. All that stuff, not him.
Huh.
Just crazy. It blew my mind when I found that out.
I had no idea. I thought I knew everything about this fucking movie. I had no idea.
And I have to think, was it a deep dive on YouTube? Who did a whole overview of this movie? Okay, gets more technical into it.
Oh, cool! But we'll have to throw a link in there.
I'll throw a link into it because we're not talking the details like
I mean, we're not fucking filmmakers.
Yeah, we're just nostalgic over this and how much we love it. But, But like I felt like, what the fuck? I had no idea. Like, I honestly thought it was him. But then when you look at Eric Stoltz and Michael Fox,
similar builds and stuff.
But yeah, not him. And there was a few other shots too where towards the beginning of the film, because I think they said that they actually shot this in order to. Anytime you don't see his face for the most part of it, it's not him.
Oh shit! Okay.
Because they had to keep.
So that whole opening sequence of him walking into Doc's.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Now I'm gonna watch it with a different. Now I'm gonna go watch
it again.
I'm gonna go watch these
movies. I saw it
movies.
totally different. I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
It's so funny. Bryce always talks shit about specifically about this franchise because I always say like, I'm bored. There's nothing to watch. I'll just throw on Back to the Future, and I put on Back to the Future. I'll take the Blu-ray out and put it on, and he's like. Or you could like watch a movie that just recently came out that you haven't watched yet. No, you're just gonna watch the movie you watched 1,000 times already. It's like, yep, that's exactly what I'm gonna do.
Hell yeah, it's called a comfort movie for a reason.
Yeah. That and like I said, Karate. Like it's weird. It's those three movies. It's Karate Kid, Back to the Future, and Flight of the Navigator. Those are the three movies that like, if I'm bored or. Especially with Flight of the Navigator, if I'm feeling down or something, I watch Flight of the Navigator. Like that is an awesome movie to watch if you're feeling down, you know.
I watched a little bit of it yesterday because I was looking for that ravine part.
Yeah.
Just remember, like, yeah, he did fall in the ravine, or did he tumble into the ravine? And then I remember, oh yeah, he was holding onto a branch and he fell.
It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, is that where you're watching it? Okay, yeah. I'm trying to get my kids to watch it, but they haven't watched it. I'm like, you guys would love this movie. Just watch it.
Oh, my nephews just watched Back to the Future.
Oh, really?
All of them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my sister was texting me literally like a few days ago.
Yeah.
And just telling me like, oh, like the kids are watching the third one now. Like, oh, awesome. Okay,
yeah, it was on TV. My kids were watching it last weekend. Or 2 weeks ago, maybe at this point. Oh, it was on like all three in a row, and they were watching all three. I think it was okay. So maybe it was about two or 3 weeks ago because. The weekend that we got together to record the last couple episodes, that weekend, they were just on TV. Because we were supposed to do this one that weekend, but yeah, no, my allergies were fucking killing me. I'm shocked I made it through those 2 episodes we recorded. But yeah, they were watching Back to the Future, and I have a really funny memory of Michaela when she was little, seeing this movie for the first time. On cable, and hearing her, she's probably maybe 4 or 5, just laughing like in hysterics because I was in the room, I was watching in the room, and she was watching in the living room, and so she's laughing in hysterics, and then she comes in and she goes, "He's wearing purple underwear." Like she was dying over the purple underwear, and I was like, "Wow, why is that so funny?" But yeah, like that's something that funny. Yeah, and she loves these movies. In 2015, when they showed them 1 and 2 back to back, October 2015, we went and saw them.
I remember you guys went to the.
Then we went to the mall.
That's what.
And they after it, and they had a bunch of really cool people with DeLoreans. Somebody had the Doc Brown van. It was really cool. Yeah, and it was like it was. I mean, I can't say film accurate, but it looked film accurate. Right. And then awesome. Someone had a DeLorean. Someone had just a base DeLorean. And then someone had a DeLorean that was tricked out to look like the time machine from the movie. And they had a bunch of like printouts from the movie, like articles from the newspapers in the movies 1, 2, and 3, and like the Western Union thing, and yeah, it was really, really cool. It was really, really cool. And she was late to school the next day and fell asleep in class, but I feel like I'm a good parent for having her experience
the 2015 anniversary.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of her favorite film franchises too. Is Back to the Future, which I think is great. Something we could pass on, you know?
Yeah, crazy that we outlived 2015.
Yeah. Oh man. So
I mean, they did say when, like, at least of all the, behind the scenes stuff that I watched, like they wanted to make the date that felt the future, but also attainable. And
right.
And
that seemed far enough away to be like, whoa, 2015,
but like enough to be in your lifetime, and that's what they did. And then if you also look at it too. Some of the stuff that we got from that 2015 future we have now.
Yeah.
Video calls.
The video calls is one. like the smart home.
Smart home, yeah.
Like,
holy shit, yeah.
That's basically, people have that now, where like you will legit welcome home. Like it'll do that shit. Your house can do that, and you can talk to your house and it'll do shit for you. It'll turn the TV on, put it on the channel you want it on, put on the music
turn
you
the
want
lights on.
Yeah. You can do all that shit with apps now as you're coming in the house, like change your thermostats, to turn the oven on. Like you can do all that shit from an app on your phone now. And I'm sure you could probably do it through voice commands also, but I think it's really crazy that some of that stuff that they from 1985 that they envision being in the future, we just still don't have flying cars or hoverboards, but that's all right. You could just get
or dehydrated pizza that blows up in a few seconds, which is what I want the most.
Oh man, could you imagine like just the space saving? Like, yeah.
I save a lot of space.
Yeah, you can get skateboards that look like the hoverboard though, so that's fine.
Yeah,
it's close enough. It's close enough. But yeah, man, hoverboards. That was the thing. Like, and again, the scene in the first movie where he rips the handlebars off the kid's scooter and uses the skateboard with the metal wheels and stuff, and kind of changing the future, I guess you could say. Like, that's how we got skateboards, was Marty McFly.
Right. That's right.
And like then same in the second movie when he takes the hoverboard and it's the same kind of thing. And again, they just reshot a lot of that first movie just in the future for 2, but it was just, I don't know, man. It came, like you said, it came across as like, this is so far fetched, but oh man, like, is it really going to be like that when we get there? But
nah, then we had a point where the hoverboard was still in the works. Like, there's that thing that was kind of going around during 2015 where Tony Hawk on that metallic hoverboard thing. Like it was like you couldn't take it anywhere else.
Right.
It was locked.
And it's like that far off the ground. And it's super loud because it's blowing air and it's like that far, just barely off the ground. And if you weigh too much, like you're gonna touch. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, shit, dude, that's cool. Getting a concept like that off the ground, even if it is, very controlled and you can only do it on this platform because it's magnets and air and it's only that far off the ground, it's still cool.
It'd be a fun attraction.
It's still cool to think that people are out there trying to make shit like this.
Yeah. We got people trying to make Iron Man suits and fly.
Yeah. Back to the Future too, man. I love that sequence with Biff. Griff. Yeah. With the like metal plate or whatever, like just like shorting out or whatever, like because he's got neural implants, or I don't know if that's what they're bionic implants and stuff, like shorting out and stuff. Like, yeah, of course Biff Tannen would have faulty fucking bio implants. But yeah, man, I fucking love these movies. I think 3 is one that we're probably going to talk about more than the other 2, obviously, because you and I have some very specific stuff we want to say about 3, and I think we're on the same page with it. But I really feel like 3 is underrated, man. I know a lot of people don't like it because of it feels forced to them, or it doesn't have the same heart or story. But I think the thing we love about it is the way that they flip roles in 3.
Yeah, one of the things that I think I appreciate more about 3, I think probably because the more times I watched it, the more it grew on me, or I grew with it, I guess, is seeing that role reversal. Like, growing up, I didn't really care for 3, like,
because it's not about Marty. I think that's why we didn't like it.
It's not about Marty, and also I was just never a fan of westerns.
I love westerns.
Yeah, I just don't like westerns. I can't help it. But
you love Star Wars.
Yeah, I love Star Wars and Firefly.
Shit, Karate Kid is a western.
Yes, we talked about that.
That's a topic too. Movies that aren't westerns that are westerns. That's on the list.
I just edited that part today or yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, okay. We talked about that.
Yeah. All right.
But it started to like sink more in with me, and like I started appreciating it more. And it was also a great send off to the trilogy of a movie.
Yeah.
Like,
except for that weirdo kid at the end.
Yeah, right. Because we got to finally see it was all about Marty in the first two. Now we got Doc, and Doc gets to live his life and him trying to be happy and be a scientist, and ends up falling in love with the
I think the funny thing about the Doc Brown story is like originally when he creates the time machine, he wants to go back in time to study things and be be the fly on the wall, right? And they throughout the course, like all that changes. Now we got to go back and we got to fix what we fucked up, man. Like we fucked it up, Marty. We got to go fix it. The space-time continuum. And in the third one, like he's trying to cheat. Like he's in the Old West with all of his knowledge that he has, and shit, man, it's like
he's the blacksmith of the town,
right?
It's the one everyone goes to.
It's like that book I was telling you about, Off to Be the Wizard, about the guy. Like he goes back in time to be I'll just say I'm a wizard, and everybody will
believe him.
Everybody will believe everything I say because I'm the all-knowing, and that's basically what Doc is doing. He's going back in time and using all of his knowledge. Yeah, but
if you want,
he wasn't trying really hard to get back because he wanted to stay there even before.
He said how much he loved westerns,
right? And even before he met Clara, you could see that he wanted to stay there. But yeah, he was going back in time to cheat. He was trying to be a wizard back in the Old West. But he disguises himself as a blacksmith and this and that, which is pretty cool because that's like the only thing you could really do then without technology that's sort of
to know how to do a lot of things.
But yeah, the role reversal, like watching Doc become the guy who's in trouble and needs help out. And in the first movie Marty's dead set on getting back because he's going out that weekend with his girlfriend, the love of his life, and watching Doc kind of be like, well, I want to stay here. I think I've found the love of my life. And Marty trying to be like, hey, you said we can't do this shit anymore, man. We got to get out of here. We're going to ruin things. But yeah, watching
he
that
was the voice of reason.
Yeah. And even to the point where, like you said to me, like Doc goes, oh, this is heavy.
Yeah.
And Marty goes, great Scott. Like they full on change roles. And I think it's really cool the way that happens. And shit, man, even seeing the old Marty's family from Ireland, or like the way that they tell that story.
His great grandparents, or great grandparents, whatever they were. Like you got the history of the McFlys and how they came to America, and the way he comes back. I forgot what was his name, Seamus.
Yeah,
he comes in and says, "Oh, I've something in my bones tells me my future depends on being here."
Yeah.
Like, oh, that was good.
Something tells me my future depends on it. Yeah. So let's kind of look at this right now. So if these movies came out today, we're in 2023. He would be going back to.
I did the math of this a while ago. Fuck, what was it?
It's 30 years. So, because they're in 85 and he goes back to 55.
Yeah.
So 30 years, he'd be 1955, right? From 85 seems like so long ago. He would be going 92. Back to 1990. Well, 93 if it came out today.
Yeah.
1993.
All the 90s.
Yeah.
Looks.
Yeah. And then forward, he'd be going to 2053.
Yeah.
Which is. That seems okay. That one still seems really far away.
That does seem far away to me.
But when you're a kid and it's 2015, you're like, oh, that's not that far away. It didn't seem that far away at the time, Kind of. And so if he went back to the Old West, he'd be going back to 1923, which is like Industrial Revolution.
Oh, that's right.
So because he goes back to 1885,
instead
of 1985, so he'd be going back to 1923. Instead of 2023, which is like, just think about that change from the Old West stuff to like Industrial Revolution, buildings going up, factory work. Like, I don't want them to redo these movies. I don't want them to touch Back to the Future. I know there's been a lot of
There's no way that's going to happen.
There's been a
as
lot.
long as Robert Zemeckis is alive, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, but there's been a lot of people trying to redo it. Yeah.
There's people I think that want to mimic it, and I'm sure like want to do something similar. Like everything we just said, we could write something up ourselves and write something totally different that has nothing to do with Back to the Future, you know, and have, you know, two scientist friends figure out, wait, this is time travel, you know, and they turn that's that car, of course, you know, or a jet into a time machine. And they go back in time or whatever happens, however that may happen. So like, you can still make a movie like it, but you just can't call it Back to the Future.
I remember, I think it was like 2010 when there was a lot of like, they're trying to remake Back to the Future. They're trying to remake Back to the Future. They want this guy or that guy. There was
talk about it, but it wasn't happening.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't ever happen. Like you gotta leave these movies alone. Like some things don't need to be remade. Some things still hold up, and it just sucks because you see so many movies that do actually hold up being remade and reimagined and redone, and it's like, fuck, man, don't do that. Just leave things alone. Yeah. Come up with something new. Call it something else.
And I'm sure you've seen the deep fakes with Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, and I think now it would probably be those guys.
It would be those guys.
Yeah, it would be those guys.
Yeah. Tom Holland is getting too many fucking parts. He doesn't deserve that.
Those deep fakes are disturbing. Because it's their voices too. Like that shit is just how far technology has come in the last 5 years with those, like the last 2 years with the deep fake stuff. Like now you can't even tell that if it's real or fake unless you actually know. And that's really insane to think.
Yeah. It's like in Disney hired the guy who fixed the Leia deep fake in Rogue One at the end, hired him, and he came on to do all the composite deep fake for Luke and the Mandalorian.
Wow.
And it looks phenomenal.
That's insane. That's insane. Did you see, speaking of this real quick, again, we're off topic. Did you see that Bruce Willis licensed his likeness and voice to a deepfake company so they could keep putting out stuff using his voice and likeness? Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, because he's really sick right now. And apparently he's going down real quick. But yeah, he licensed his likeness and voice to.
Honestly, I mean, if I was a big actor like that, I would do the same as long as it's done in good taste, you know?
Yeah. I mean, all that means though is we're just gonna get sweet wine cooler commercials in the future with Bruce Willis like we did back in the day.
He's taking care of his children.
Yeah, good for him, man. Sucks how quickly he's deteriorated though. But yeah, it's nuts, man. Like they could just remake these movies using the same fucking shit, like using Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. They could just remake these movies now using them. That's how good technology. That's how good technology has gotten. So I don't want to. The last time I did something like this and put this out there, they ended up doing a fucking remake. But would it be Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr. that you'd want to do it now if they were going to do it?
I think Tom Holland might be a little too old now, but he's getting there at least.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. I think is good actor, but I don't know if I could see him playing Doc.
Okay. I think he can maybe do the weirdness of it.
I mean, I'm sure he can. Like I have no doubt that he can.
Yeah, see, it's weird. Like even talking about this, it's like
it feels unnatural when we're talking about
right.
Casting
I'm gonna sound like you from 5 years ago. He's too old now, but Miles Teller. Put Miles Teller in fucking everything, please. Put him in everything.
Oh, Miles Teller, easily.
Right? 5 years ago?
Miles Teller in that one movie.
Which one?
The one that we first saw him in. Where he kind of almost plays that John Cusack-like character.
Oh, I still haven't watched that movie.
You haven't watched
that? No. Okay. What is that one?
Fuck, I'm forgetting the name of it. Something... Spectacular Wow.
Yeah, no, Spectacular Now. You and Ryan said Spectacular Wow. You guys are dorks. Yeah, the Spectacular now. Yeah, I still haven't watched that because of all that hype.
Miles Teller would be perfect.
Yeah, the kid that was in Ready Player One that is like dollar store Miles Teller. I can't remember his name right now. He was in
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
He's a good choice too.
Yeah,
very good choice.
But again, all those guys are too old now. They still look young, but if you're gonna be playing like high school senior, Michael J. Fox looked too old to be playing a high school senior in 1985. But people in the 80s looked older anyway. It's so weird to think. Like you watch a lot of those movies, and you see.
Oh, I know who.
Who?
Your guy Ace of Butterfield.
Oh yeah. He's a little older now too.
He's a little older now too, but he's still playing a high schooler, right? In Sex Education.
Oh yeah, he'd be perfect.
Yeah.
That dude is so good. God, he's so good. He's such a good actor. I wanted him to play Spider-Man when they had this.
Yeah. And after watching Sex Education, I was like,
yeah,
he could do Spider-Man.
Yeah, Doc Brown though. I don't think that's someone you can fucking recast.
That's impossible to cast because Christopher Lloyd's a fucking acting god.
And I just remember thinking, wow, he's so old, but he wasn't.
He was in The Mandalorian.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
dude. He did a really good job.
Wow, that's nice. It's like now he's old. Then he just looked old, but now he's old.
On the way that they had him take off all that makeup to say that so he wouldn't have to wear it through all the movie.
Yeah.
Like the reason in Back to the Future 2, the way he's like, oh yeah, I had some face enhancement stuff like that, because it was the future and he could do that.
Yeah.
Because I think they didn't want to. I think either Christopher Lloyd. I don't remember what he said in the video, but Christopher Lloyd didn't want to wear that makeup the entire time, so they just said he had this thing done. Yeah. So he took off all the makeup like that.
That's so pretty good. That's pretty good. And they make it a throwaway line, and yeah, that's pretty good, man.
So
I still want those shoes too from 2. The Nike
and they
bags.
came out.
Yeah.
And they came out.
Yeah, they're like fucking really expensive.
They were like $10,000 or some shit like that.
There's people that like I talk about. Oh, I guess I don't really anymore, but I talked about this guy a lot. Adam Savage from Mythbusters. Yeah. He has his website tested.com where he does a lot of prop making on there. Mm-hmm. And I remember around 2015 when the actual date from Back to the Future 2 was coming up, they did like a whole special about people from the replica prop forums that make the Nike mags, or what became the Nike mags, that make the shoes and make them wearable and functional. And like that's kind of what prompted Nike to actually make them, is that they saw, oh, we could do these for a premium price and people would buy them because these guys are fucking making them with the lights and the cuffs and everything already. So yeah, we could do that. But yeah, Replica Prop Forum, I think is what it was called. It's a website. And it's like just a message board. But yeah, you can find anything on there. People make anything and everything. I saw somebody made a Hellboy pistol out of Legos. Like a full thing. And
that's awesome.
Adam Savage ended up having that guy on, and using BrickSeek, you can actually buy the parts you need to make it individually. It's pretty crazy.
Didn't he make one too?
Yeah, he made one. Like he made a prop, like
he made
an actual prop.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this one is made out of Lego, and it looks insane. Again, off topic, but yeah.
I feel like with current technology, they could make those shoes even better.
Probably.
Or I could be wrong. I don't know. But like, we need those mass produced.
Oh yeah, man. I want a pair of those.
I'm not one for like brands and shit.
Yeah,
like
me
that,
either. But
fucking these Nike mags
as a collectible, you know, I wouldn't ever wear them. I would just want to have them to look at them. Yeah. You know, put them behind glass.
Yeah, on my shelf.
Yeah.
Behind me.
Yeah. Yeah, man. These movies are so good. Like all the lines that the Great Scots and this is heavy and weight has nothing to do with it, Marty. Like all the stuff that is so quotable. And take your damn hands off her. Like that and his reading of that line is so fucking good too. Like Crispin Glover is so good at the George McFly role. In that first movie. But yeah, just like that awkwardness and the nerdiness. Like it's funny because he's Marty without the sense of self-worth. Because Marty's like, I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. I'm a fucking cool guy. George is like, oh man, nobody likes me. I'm kind of a dork. Like it's the opposite. It's the same person, just the other side of it without the confidence.
Yeah, yeah.
And then to see in 2 when Marty's son is like George. Like,
yeah,
he's
that's right. Yes.
Yeah, he ends up like George.
He doesn't end up like
his
Marty,
grandfather.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I didn't notice that. That's a good call out right there. I didn't notice that before. Then he has a daughter, which is Michael J. Fox.
This is so funny. Like, it's like, why do that? Like, was that just for funnies, or like, did they not think they could find somebody to play? Like, I get that.
Look, it's fine. I think my worry when watching this, especially when hearing all the behind the scenes stuff, was like, you're giving this man too much work. He needs a break.
Yeah, because he's playing himself. He's playing older him. He's playing his son and his daughter. And his daughter. Which was creepy. That shit is creepy.
I don't know. I just thought like that was a lot of work. Work for him, because like if you also hear about like the first movie too, like they literally had him, were valeting him between Family Ties and this movie.
Yeah,
like he was sleeping in the car in between rides from work to work.
Shit, man.
He would film in the day, because they would have the live studio audience, so they would film Family Ties in the day, and then right away he said like a van would be waiting for him. You jump into the van, you sleep in the van, and then gets pushed to do Back to the Future.
Shit, man.
And then he said it was like that. I think the shooting was like 6 months or something like that, 3 or 6 months. Too. And that was his life as long as that show was on, because that was his commitment.
Yeah,
but they paid for all of that because that's how much they wanted him instead of Eric Saltz.
I mean, it was the right move.
Which was the right move, to be honest.
It was definitely the right move, man.
Which Family Ties was a good show too.
Yep.
I enjoyed that show. I still watch it now because it's on the Pluto TV.
I haven't watched any of episodes of that in a really probably since it went off the air. But I used to watch it when it was on and liked it.
Yeah, it's weird watching it today. Yeah, because I've been watching it, and he plays like his parents were hippies and he's a Republican.
Yeah. And
like watching him and saying this, like, oh my gosh, shut the like. I can't watch this, otherwise I'm gonna not like him.
Republicans weren't what they are now then, though.
Oh, well, sure they
were. You know what I mean? Like
they just hit it well.
It's completely different idealists now. Like it's completely different. But yeah.
But I think what the difference between him compared to like, and well, at least in Family Ties compared to like, the Republicans was like he was seeing what was wrong in the system. Yeah. And no matter how much he stood by his beliefs, I don't know we're talking Family Ties now, but
it's a good show.
You would see like his parents would show him the injustice and where it was. Right. So like you'd see him start, questioning his beliefs.
Great show.
But yeah, I still like the show.
Yeah. I need to track it down and watch some of those episodes because I remember a lot of that show, but it's been forever since I've seen it.
And then they had the Tom Hanks episode one where Tom Hanks plays his drunk uncle.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Holy crap. That's a rough one.
Yeah. And he was trying to get Alex to drink.
Yeah. He was Alex in that show.
It was Alex.
Yeah, man. Fucking Michael J. Fox. Dude
he's been my favorite actor since I watched Back to the Future.
Yeah, and
I watched Doc Hollywood.
Yeah, same.
Frighteners. Secret of My Success. So many fucking movies.
Doc Hollywood and Secret of My Success are fantastic movies.
It's been a while since I've watched those.
Yeah.
But I liked them. I think the only thing I didn't like, and of course me being a kid, being very straight edge, was like he was smoking in one of those movies. Like, come on, man, why are you smoking? It's bad for you.
Yeah. That's so funny.
So there was this little brief period where I was disappointed.
You were disappointed in Michael J. Fox.
Of course, then I realized, like, they don't use real cigarettes. They use these clove stuff,
which are worse for your lungs than cigarettes. Yeah. Yeah, man. Those are really two really good movies that people should check out if you like Michael J. Fox, especially in this like Back to the Future era, because for a while he was kind of just playing this character. Shit, man. Even like going forward to like Spin City, that shit was really good.
I
Good
think
TV show.
Oh yeah, Spin City as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, I watched Spin City because of him too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what you just said right now kind of like made me realize like people say Tom Holland is because Tom Holland does the same thing.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Michael J. Fox kind of did the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, any actor that like when you have a breakout movie like this,
typecast.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I mean, shit. I'm gonna say it. Chris Pratt right now. Anybody who's hiring Chris Pratt wants him to be Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
So whether it's a voice or whatever, they want him to do the thing he does. And it's any actor, like I said, you have the big hits, and it's like, oh, we want that. Nolan North in video games, like had the breakout role with Uncharted, and then every fucking video game on the planet was hiring Nolan North because they wanted Nathan Drake in their video game, and he played that role for a long time until he kind of stopped doing a lot of stuff. Now he's at a point where he can pick and choose what he wants. But at the time, like, dude was, I don't know, I wouldn't say struggling, but he was an actor and a voice actor, and
every actor struggles.
Yeah, and he would just take everything. And it's like that same year that Uncharted came out, that Prince of Persia reboot came out, and he's the voice of the Prince of Persia character, the lead character in that too. And and he was that same year, he was the voice of Desmond Miles in Assassin's Creed, and there were three different distinct characters. But then after Uncharted hit, he basically just played Drake in everything. Like, and that's what happens. It happens in every form of media. Like, you have your hit, and that's what people want, so they hire you to do the thing you do. It's like that. Say the line, Bart. Say the line. Yeah, like that's what it becomes. And if you don't remove yourself from it, like Michael J. Fox did for a while, or like Nolan North is currently removing himself from a lot of things and only picking and choosing what he wants to do, or like if you don't remove yourself from that situation, you end up just like Tom Holland's at a point right now where he needs to remove himself from the situation because
we're getting too much. We're getting a lot of Tom Holland.
Yeah, and it's not he's a good actor. It's not a bad thing. It's just it's the same. Will Ferrell was that way. Like they hired him to be Will Ferrell and everything, and you gotta know when to back away a little bit and change it up. And I think a lot of people have a lot of resentment. Fans have a lot of resentment towards actors when they do that. It's like, oh man, I'm fucking Jim Carrey. I'm known for being the wild and goofy crazy guy. I'm gonna take a step back and I'm gonna do a serious role. Oh fuck that. He's a comedian. He needs to do funny stuff. Like the backlash happens, but if you want longevity in your career, you gotta back away and figure something else out. I think that's something like Christopher Lloyd never really had that issue because he always was something different. Like I saw Back to the Future, and then I saw him in Roger Rabbit and didn't even realize that was him.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was him.
Like I knew the voice, but I didn't realize that it was him. And like he's kind of good at doing different things. He was good at doing different things all the time and not getting caught up in being Doc Brown and everything, which could have easily happened.
I think that's where the Mandalorian kind of comes in here. He kind of had that Doc Brownish,
very cool
vibe to him when he was doing this role, because he was playing a scientist. So maybe that's probably why it was. Probably it's like a nice nostalgic callback there, because he was basically a robotics guy basically. But yeah, he was definitely Doc Brown.
And then it makes it fun to come back to that when you're not doing it for the last 30 years. You know, did you so you've seen like the deleted scenes from 3, right, where Mad Dog Tannen kills what's his face, the sheriff?
Yes, I did see that.
And they were like, no, this is too dark, we can't have this. Like, he's already a piece of shit, we don't need to have him murdering anybody.
In front of his kid too. Which would make sense for a normal Western.
Right. I think there's points in 3 where I think they got caught up in making a Western, and you can kind of see where they do it and then they pull it back. Like it can get a little dark, and then you have ZZ Top playing at the fucking ceremony, which is so weird.
Speaking of that ceremony at the ZZ Top one, I don't know if you know this too, but this is something that I got from the video, was that all that, like people dancing and everything, that was all real. Like they just had like people like they're like, oh, we're changing film mags or whatever. Just pretend like the party's still going. So all that is real.
Oh shit.
Yeah, they just had the camera rolling.
Oh wow.
And we're getting genuine reactions from most of the actors and
that's
from
pretty cool.
most of the background characters.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Same with ZZ Top too. Like all that was just them.
That's cool.
Yeah, they just let the camera roll.
That's a cool way to get natural reactions out of people.
So most of those interactions that you see there, when it's kind of like a wide shot, or even with the actors, like that's all natural.
Oh wow,
like,
okay,
yeah,
that's really cool. That's really really cool. Clint Eastwood, fucking Clint Eastwood. I love that when he fucking changes his name, Calvin Klein, and because his name was on his underwear.
Calvin Klein, his underwear.
Yeah. And his purple underwear.
He picked Clint Eastwood because he thought it was gonna be all badassy.
Right. Yeah, man. I love these movies. I mean, we've been all over the place, but I could go on and on and on about how good these movies are and how much I love them. And we talked a little bit about them a couple episodes ago, about the first one specifically. But
rank them.
Do you want to rank them?
I don't know. I don't know if I could rank these. Because they're all good.
Yeah, I think my younger self would have put 3 at the bottom of the list.
Same. And put 2 on top.
Probably 2 on top, and then 1 in the middle. But I think if I were to do it now, I might. I don't think I could, because I think I like all of them equally now. Yeah. Because again,
because as time goes on, you realize like how interlaced these movies are, especially them being filmed back to back.
Right, 2 and 3 being filmed back to back. Yeah,
like they just mesh perfectly well together, and you can't rank them. It's a whole movie.
Yeah, and I think when you're younger and you don't like 3, it's because it's not about Marty. It's about Doc Brown. And I think when you get older,
it is.
Yeah. You identify with it a little bit more, because now you're older and you get it. Like, okay, this is about Doc Brown and not about Marty. That's why I didn't like it originally. But yeah, I'm glad you said you kind of flipped on 3, huh?
Yeah, I definitely flipped on 3.
That's good.
Yeah, and it's great. It's a great fucking trilogy of movies.
I think I always liked 3 because it's a Western, and I liked Westerns as a kid, but I distinctly remember thinking like, oh, this is not about the guy I want it to be about. And then as I got older, I was like, oh yeah, this is really good. I like it even more now. Fucking, this is heavy.
About 3, the biggest part that I love about 3 is the opening of 3. Like I'm talking about from the actual opening, from the first frame to to when we get the credits, when they're in Doc's home and like going, the camera just going through the entire room. Like, or but I'm back from the future. And he faints and he's trying to wake him up, and then it just cuts to him like driving to his home. Like that whole sequence there, like I just love it. Yeah. That's probably my favorite from any of all 3 movies. I picked that. I can't pick one movie. I can't rank the movies, but I'll say out of intros, I like that one the best.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, that one's really, really good. I think I'm probably partial to 1, just because of the guitar and like the Rube Goldberg machine.
I like that.
And all
that. Yeah, I like that too. But I don't know. There's just something about that third opening that just I don't know. Like,
have you? Okay, this is one of the last things we'll talk about Back to the Future 3. Have you seen the video? I'm sure you did, where it was when Brokeback Mountain came out, and somebody cut a trailer for Back to the Future called Brokeback to the Future and made it a love story between Doc and Marty. Have you seen that trailer? No. It's really funny the way it's edited. It's really funny. Who the hell is Clara?
I'm just saying ill because Marty's supposed to be a teenager.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, but I'll send you that link too. I'll show you the Ben Stiller stuff, and I'll show you that trailer.
Show me the Ben Stiller stuff, because that just blew my mind. I had no idea.
Really good stuff. Wow. I love that. But yeah, it's a really funny, like, cut together trailer where, it makes it about a story between Marty and Doc instead of Doc and Clara. No. Yeah.
I'll have to see that.
Clayton Ravine. That's like one of the things. Like, how's it still called Clayton Ravine if she never died in the ravine?
Oh, right. The ravine part.
But oh well.
Clara Clayton.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Clara Clayton.
Yeah.
He sure fell into the ravine. Gotta watch out for those ravines in the 80s, man.
Yeah.
They'll get you.
Go back in time or forward in time or
Or stuck in time.
Yeah, stuck in time. That was an all over the place one. I like that.
That was good.
That was good, man.
But yeah, that's our take on the Back to the Future trilogy.
Fantastic movies. Y'all should go watch them.
Absolutely. Definitely love the movies. I feel like saying go check them out would be like, how have you not?
Right.
So
I know people
where are they streaming?
Haven't seen
Paramount Plus? No.
Oh God, no.
Peacock.
Peacock. Yeah, they're on Peacock.
They're on Peacock. Yeah. I don't know if we were to buy it on Blu-ray and on demand, but yeah, I guess that's gonna be it.
Cool thing about the Blu-ray box set thing that came out, 10, 12 years ago or whatever. They have the video for Back to the Future, the ride.
Yes.
And I remember we watched it, and it was like, oh my God, this is so lame. And what's cool is like, it's encoded with D-Box. So if you have a home theater setup or a D-Box setup, it will do the movements. Who does exactly? But remember, that was a huge thing in theaters for a while. So if you have that kind of setup, you could actually be on Back to the Future the ride.
Or you could rent out a theater with D-Box
and show it. Yeah, that'd be really stupidly expensive, but it'd be hilarious to do. But yeah, all the special features, the Out of Time documentary that came out on Netflix 10 years ago. That's really good. If you guys want to check that out, this new Michael J. Fox documentary that's coming out looks really, really good. I'm sure there's going to be a lot about Back to the Future in it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what he's known for.
We'll talk about it. We'll review it.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, there's a lot of cool content out there about Back to the Future that if you've watched the movies and want deeper dives, like this wasn't.
I'll put the link for the deep dive video that I talked about earlier in the description. So check that out.
Yeah. This was the whole time Rick and I knew this was just going to be us talking about how much we love these movies for an hour. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, with this podcast, you're getting our personal takes.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what you're getting from us.
Hell yeah. But yeah, we could wrap it up.
Well, yeah,
I'll stop talking now.
Thanks for coming by and sticking around for the entire video if you did. If not, no worries. You'll find all our links down in the description below for all our socials. We post videos every other week on this YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. And if you have any urban information, if you have any topics that you'd like for us to talk about, let us know in the comments or add us on Twitter, as you can see below. Also, thank you for the great music that we have.
Nigel Bravo. Stoat Krow Komedy on everywhere. Instagram, Twitch, Bandcamp. An awesome guy, makes awesome music.
Made our outro. Thank you for that, and thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next time.